Member for Mount Waverley.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'll never get that 10 minutes back. I am delighted and stoked to talk on this matter of public importance, and it is obviously a level of importance economically that we haven't seen since World War II.
Order.
And I don't need to crack a joke. The intervention, the member for Gembrook does that himself. So, look, obviously, January 26 in Mount Waverley, we had a gentleman come and have dinner at the House of Delight with the coronavirus. And the interventions are getting worse. No.
Order. Order.
The act's really coming along, Mr. Deputy Speaker. So, health crisis, January 26. And on that time, we can see that the coronavirus was coming to us in China. And this is a very serious issue, as you would know. So I got a call around the time that a man had been to the House of Delight and had dinner. And that was the first we knew about a local case in our area in the east. And all of a sudden, the health department kicked in. The Minister for Health, the Premier, everything started. Now, since that day, things haven't stopped. We're still going through a crisis. This government, from day one, has acted swiftly, decisively and appropriately. The schools in my area that have a great number of Chinese Australian students were immediately involved. We had parents who were concerned. We had a case of a gentleman at the Monash Hospital I've talked about before. So this is something that the government took very seriously from day one. Now, what have we done in regards to that? Well, there are a lot of numbers in what money has been spent, what money has been committed, what money has been delivered. I put to you, Deputy Speaker, that the actual figures are not as important as the fact that they were appropriate, that what was done was what was required. We have our school system with cleaning, that was doubled. We had term finish early. We had a social experiment in education that nobody would ever have planned for. And if you went back 6 months and you said to all our parents and our students and our teachers, hey, here's an idea, what about next year in around about March, you all stay home for about 8 weeks and you'll learn from home via remote learning and Zoom. There is no way anyone would ever do that. You wouldn't take that choice. But that's what we did, because that's what was required and that's what the experts said. And we can all have a laugh and a joke and have a go at each other and that's all fine. But the reality is we listened to the experts and we did what they said. And we should probably do that in a few more other areas in this country as well. And maybe after this time, this virus, this moment that we will all remember for the rest of our lives, maybe that will be the impetus of us listening to our experts from now on. So it's worth us, as the member for Albert Park has said in his MPI here, that we should thank the Victorian community, and we definitely should. The Victorian community have acted in an exemplary way. Now, it hasn't been easy for any of us, especially those of us in this House, and I count those on the other side in this. We have all had to do the work, and it has been work of a nature that had to be done immediately. We've all worked from home, not just us, obviously, everybody. Our students have learned from home, our kids have been at home. I think the only people who have been exceptionally happy about the last 6 months is my dog, because he's had the whole family home 7 days a week, 24/7. So, and she's a bit upset now too, because we're going sort of back slowly. So, I would like to point out at that point to thank the schools in my area, particularly the principals. I rang them, would have been very late January, early Feb, 1st or the 2nd, just before the term started. The department had already contacted them, the Minister's office had already been on top of it, they already had the instructions they needed to go forward. And as I've checked with them over the duration, the feedback I get is that Deputy Premier, the Minister of Education's office, has done everything that they have required. And things have got done. Reinventing education in a matter of 2 weeks of holidays that were brought forward early, only to get everything in place and get it all settled and then have to undo it all again. But they did it. So I won't mention all my schools, but you know who you are and you know that I am grateful. So, business. We've heard a bit about business today, and I can tell you, as much to the member of Polwarth might disagree with me, although he's not here, that some of us, like him, have many years in business. And I know exactly what this period would have done to the business that I ran not 2 years ago. Very small business. We didn't make a lot of money, but we worked hard. And this would have given you the thought, when coronavirus hit, do I close the doors? If my business drops 70, 80%, what do I do? Now, I will also say that I have been proud to be a Member of Parliament at a time when, for the most part, politics was thrown out the window. Obviously, that hasn't continued today, but that's, to be expected. Now, I think we can thank the National Cabinet, the federal government, obviously our Premier and our government, also local government for the work they've done. Now, there is so much more that I could go on about in regard to this government's response. But what I will say is I had a call from a long-term business acquaintance of mine. And as a man I've dealt with for about 30 years, and I respect him, and I think we can call each other friends. Now, this man is an avid Liberal supporter. And he gave me a call a couple of weeks ago, and he said he was a little bit worried about people not listening to the social distancing as much as they should. But he also said, look, Matt, you know where I stand in all this stuff. And I went, yeah. He said, I've got to tell you, the Premier, your side, have done extremely well. He said, I don't know who the Liberal leader is, but if there was an election right now, I would vote for you guys. That man lives in Malvern.